Hi, welcome back. So I now would like to talk about another important topic in Linux when you're getting started, that is package management. So I've booted up iVal here, and we're going to make this full screen just to make sure that we can see everything really well. And then I'm going to log in as myself. And then here we go. I see this intro message here, and we'll talk about why that prints next time and how to change that. But right now, since we're on Ubuntu, our package manager is called apt, E-P-T. I'm not sure, something package something, I'm not sure if it actually has, if it is an initialism or an acronym, but this is the tool you'll use to install most software. So the question is, how do you know what to install? How do you find it in the package management system? And then how do you get it? Like, how does it work, basically? The first thing to know about any package management system is that somebody's maintaining it. So somebody's job, probably, I don't know, usually these people are not getting paid, but the people at Ubuntu might, because it's a large distribution, maybe Debian, I don't know. And anybody associated with like Red Hat, because that's an enterprise Linux system, will be getting paid to maintain these package repositories, as they're called. So these maintainers are responsible for keeping up-to-date versions of the packages on the repositories, but also making sure that the packages work together. And that, we kind of talked about that previously. That varies based on what kind of distribution you're running. So let's clear the screen here and let's just look at apt here. Apt is a command line package manager and provides commands for searching and managing, as well as querying information about packages. So you'll notice it provides the same functionality as the specialized APT tools like apt-get and apt-cache, but enables options more suitable for interactive use by default. So, you will... Okay, first of all, this APT has super cow powers. Wow. Okay, great. So, it's a command line package manager. Most of what you'll be doing on a server is installing packages via the command line. It's actually kind of difficult to get a graphical user interface on the server. You have to use some kind of graphical forwarding technology to view the windows on your local computer while they're actually connected to the other computer. It's much simpler to just use the command line, which is probably the case for your local computer too when it comes to a lot of stuff, but not everything, importantly. So if it says specialized APT tools up here at the top, if you read a lot of, let's see, like Stack Overflow, or, well, not Stack Overflow, but like the corresponding Stack Overflow for Linux and computer management, which is be like Superuser or Server Fault, you'll see apt-get used a lot. That I would encourage you to just use apt. It kind of like it said, it combines the functionality of a lot of these apt-get tools. So if we hit apt-get, this is like the sub command of, well, this is a program, but apt-get is kind of one of the apt tools that it mentions when we talk about apt. So let's just go back to apt here. One important thing to note, actually, is that I just typed in apt and hit enter. Sometimes when you run a program from the command line and you don't give it any arguments, it turns out that that is essentially the same as calling help. Okay? So apt and then -h is usually help. So it printed out the same thing. It didn't complain at me. We can provide any other flag here, and it's just going to say, I don't know what that is. But the -h is help. But, like I said, if we just type apt, it defaults to printing the help, assuming we don't know how to use it, which is probably the case here. So, let's see. Usage, apt, and then options, and then a command. So, what are the commands here? Most used commands. See apt8 for more information about the available commands, configuration options, and syntax is detailed in apt-conf 5. That's interesting because this is a syntax you will see sometimes. These are referring to man pages. Do we have man installed on the system? Ah, there we go. Man is read the manual for the man program. So that'll open up a page that gives the best kind of typical user guide experience for what to do. So typically they'll start with like an overview of the syntax of the command, like what are you legally allowed to give it as options. The system's manual pager. A pager is a program where you see one page at a time. You don't really scroll. You can kind of scroll, but usually what you do is hit space and it just goes to the next page, space, or you can use page up or page down. That's fine too if you have those keys. And there's also other cues. You see at the bottom here, it says press H for help or Q to quit. If we press H, it kind of gives us an overview of all of the keys. So you can see that it's pretty complicated. I don't know, like maybe 20% of this stuff, but I use man all the time. The man pages are what they're called. And a pager is what goes through the pages. Each page argument given to man is normally the name of a program, utility, or function. So a lot of the basic like C functions that are used to build the Linux kernel have man pages, but you won't run into those very often. Now we were told, what were we told? We were told apt8 and apt.conf. So let's look at the man page for apt. Man and then apt. So now we're looking at the manual page for apt. The man pages are the front line for help on a Linux system, basically. So if you don't know or you forget the order of some arguments in a program or a command line tool, you can just open up the man page and read this list right here. So what this says is apt, and then in brackets here it says -h. We tried that. That means it's optional. All of these are optional arguments. You might not use all of them together, but they are all options. And then you see list, and then this is a squiggly brace here, curly brace, open, list, search, show, update. Let's see, all of these, upgrade, full upgrade. And then there are some options you can add at the end. Okay, great. So, actually, this H was what we supplied here. This H means you can probably get help on a particular command. So if we want to find help about, so apt install is a command. If we want to find apt h install, that will give us, wait, where are we here? Oh, maybe not. I guess not. Sometimes you can get more detailed help on a command via passing a .h. Let's try that backwards, actually. H install -h. Nope. Sometimes I will show you that when it happens. So if you press space, you can kind of read through all the commands and how it's used. All features of apt are available in dedicated apt tools like apt-get and apt-cache as well. Those are the more traditional Ubuntu and Debian package manager tools. Apt just changes the default value of some options, so you should prefer using these commands in your scripts as they keep backwards compatibility as much as possible. But this one apt command line tool is designed as an end user tool, and you're the end user here, unless you're developing for the system or you're writing scripts. And it may change behavior between versions. So they're saying here they're not guaranteeing that apt by itself will work the same after every version change. So, and then we also had, what was it? man-apt.conf. So this here, if you look up at the top, apt.conf 5 here, this is what it told us to look at, okay? So one thing you could do as an exercise is figure out what this number means, because I am not quite sure. I just know it means you can look it up in a man page. So this is all of the options you can provide to the configuration file of apt. And where is it? Let's go back up to the top. When an apt tool starts, including apt, it will read the configuration files in the following order. So so you can always override it with a command line option, or you can provide it in a configuration file that sits in an appropriate place. By probability's sake, that's not a phrase, but it is unlikely you will have to change the defaults for apt anytime soon. Just know that that's there. And man is the way to get at that. It's misogynistic, but hey. There is another tool I do want to shout out real quick. It's called TLDR. It's not installed on the system, so this gives us an excuse to use apt here. So to find our package, let's search apt, and then let's press tab, and these are all of the possible commands we can use. A lot of times we will have these completions. They're called completions. So press tab and it shows you what your options are, and then let's search for TLDR. And we have here, this is a TLDR, Haskell TLDR client. We probably want this one. TLDR PY. These are both clients for a website, I believe, that provides shorter man pages that just get to the heart of how to use the command. Let's try installing the Haskell one. Haskell is a language, but that just means that's what the tool is written in, and you can just go ahead and install it. So apt install TLDR. Oh, and this is another thing to know. By default, and this is probably going to be the case for you, you will be installing packages as the root user, but you will never, hardly ever, go into the root user account to install the packages. That's what sudo is for. Again, sudo means super user do, and then what do you want the super user to do? I want the super user who has control over where programs are installed on the system to install TLDR. And then I have to enter my password to say, yes, this is me, and I want the root user to do that. And then the way it's configured is, so these running kernel seems to be up to date, no services need to be restarted, etc. No user sessions are running outdated binaries. That's good. And this is probably something that, behavior that it prints out all this check here is probably configurable in that configuration file we talked about. So if you want to do an exercise, figure out how to get in that configuration file and stop this message from printing. Okay. Now, if we want to use TLDR, let's TLDR apt. No TLDR entry for apt. Let's try a more common command. Let's TLDR like we man. Oh, I wonder if we have to get a database. Update offline cache of TLDR pages. Let's update the cache. So that's going to actually clone the Git repository. Let's see if we can... There we go. All right. So now this is how to use TLDR, and this is the format it'll present. It'll say, here's a few things you might want to do. Here's just the command you need how to do it. It doesn't provide you any more information than that. Let's TLDR apt. So this is how to use apt, and it kind of gives you a little description up here. Recommended replacement for apt-get when used interactively in Ubuntu. Just to make sure that I actually say this out loud, apt-get is a program just like apt is, but apt-get is a program that has a little bit more functionality to it and is specifically designed to install packages. That's all it does. It just gets packages and it installs them. And then there's other tools to work with other things that have to do with package management. It's actually interesting. So one time we just had to pull the TLDR files from the internet. So we're not doing an internet search every time. We're not searching the GitHub repository or the TLDR website or whatever. We have an offline cache, and then we're searching that. And that's actually what apt does. So if we search for TLDR, it's searching the local directory here. We have a local copy of all of the packages that we can get, so that not everybody is constantly, when they check for updates, pinging the server and breaking the server. If you want to update your local copy of the repositories, which means refresh your local copy of all of the packages that you can install, then you would want to, and I believe this is requiring root access, sudo apt update. So you see, I didn't so here we're getting, so in this line here, get to, and this right here is impish updates in release. Impish means the version of Ubuntu I'm on. They all have names, like Impish Impala or something like that. I don't know what it is. But Impish just means this version of Ubuntu. It has a different repository than all other versions of Ubuntu, and they all have pretty much the same packages in there. And then they have like a little bit of information about what each of these are in, or what is in each of these. And then AMD64 here refers to the platform I'm on. But basically, these are all pretty small files. Like this one's only 2 kilobytes. This one's 110 kilobytes. That's a tenth of a megabyte. This is because it's just text files that list what packages are available to install. And then the last thing it does is it reads the newly updated list of packages. And it says which packages that I have installed, or how many packages I have installed can be upgraded. Run apt list upgradable, and notice I don't have to use sudo here because I'm just reading information. I'm not actually changing anything. So these are the packages that I can update. And when I say update, I actually mean upgrade, because update means, in apt world, update means get the repository data of the list of packages. Upgrade means actually get the new packages that are on that list. So all I have to do here to upgrade this is sudo apt upgrade, and then it'll stop me and say, okay, so I'm going to download 4 megabytes worth of archives. So none of this is too big, and after this operation, compared to the previous version of all of these packages, you'll be using only 75 more kilobytes of additional disk space. So yeah, I do want to continue. Go ahead, just go get it all and then install it. So notice it got it pretty quickly. And then it's just gonna overwrite some stuff. And then will it tell us what we installed again? Oh, notice here, triggers for mandb. This means a trigger is something that runs after it installs to just check if we have to do anything else. So mandb, just the trigger for that means if we have new man pages, put them into our man database locally so that we can use the man command line tool to go get them. Man, it is it's generating a boot image. Hopefully that's not going to cost too much more time. There we go. Oh, Damon's using outdated libraries. Oh, I've never seen this screen before. This is nice. So usually I just end up restarting the computer after this if it updates. Like, so journal D, systemd journal D is like the program that runs in the background of the computer that integrates with systemd, that just gets all the logs from every program so that you can read about all of this, not just not the programs, but the systemd services which run programs. So we'll talk about systemd in another version of this, but right now I believe I pressed tab to get out of there, and I'm going to restart all this, and we are restarting all of those, and I think we are good. So now we don't even need to restart the computer. I think it would tell us if we were going to restart the computer, since it told us what was going on here. If you do want to restart the computer, you can just sudo reboot, and then what happens is it reboots. This happens really fast because this is all virtualized, remember. This is just this is all running on my server in my basement here. I mean my office. Sorry. Okay. So we got that message again. We'll talk about that soon. So let's see, what else can we talk about here? So one thing that's important to know is that so now if we do this again, sudo apt update, it'll say we checked everything and we don't need to download anything new. And if we say upgrade, it'll just say nothing needed to be upgraded. So that's good. It's not typically encouraged to do auto updates because I don't even know if there's a feature for that, because I mean, it's possible. We'll talk about cron in another episode, which is how you automate jobs that run on a schedule. But if you auto update and it's a server and you don't have it, you don't know when it's about to update, you might not even realize that something broke, and then some user finds out later, basically, and that's bad. One other thing to note is that not only does apt keep track, or whatever package manager you have in your distro, not only does apt keep track of what the packages installed are, it keeps track of some more information, which is what kind of let's see. It keeps track of why we installed it, basically. Is it a package that I manually installed? Is it a package that was intended to be installed at the beginning of the bootstrapping of the operating system, or was it installed as a dependency? So what happens is, if I install, let's say, let's find, so do we have Python on here? No, we don't have Python yet, but if we want to get a Python package, okay, so we're going to see a lot of Python packages down here. Wow, that's a lot of Python packages we can download. And keep in mind, Python has its own package manager, but if you're on a Linux system, you probably, unless you have another, oh my gosh, we're gonna stop this because that's a little too much. Control C is kind of exit the program. That's what that did. It stopped his printing. But let's say we want to install, oh my gosh, this is nuts. Let's say we want to install Python 3 yo-yo. No, oh wait, I typed it in already. I need to go back to the beginning of the line. Instead of using the arrow keys, I'm going to press the home key. Except, well, that did work. But if you find yourself on a computer and the home and end keys don't work, or you don't even have home and end keys, you want to use Control A and Control E to go to the beginning and the end of lines. So we're going to use Control A to go to the beginning of the line, and we're just going to type sudo apt install Python 3 yo-yo. So here's what happened, okay? So it said Python. Oh, I bet we have Python 3 installed. Wait, let's get out of this. Python 3. Okay, so it does have Python 3 installed. Okay? It doesn't have Python 2. Now, here's the funny thing. Python 3 is the version that was intended to replace Python 2, right? But it doesn't. Python 2 doesn't even come on by default anymore. If you type Python 3, you'll get Python 3, but if you type Python, it wants to think it's Python 2. Some distributions, like mine, Arch, have shifted over to where Python means Python 3 and Python 2 means Python 2. But Ubuntu has not yet. And that's probably to keep backwards compatibility with a bunch of scripts that only could run Python 3 with Python 3, the command. So, remember, if you ever have doubt over which oh, I don't have that installed, but Python 3, that's where it is. Remember the which command here. There are also commands to determine which, well, okay, so we were installing this, right? We tried to install, I'm going to press the up arrow key, which is going to go through my recent commands, and it's going to say Python 3 yo-yo. So here are the following additional packages. The following additional packages will be installed: Python 3 SQL parse, Python 3 tabulate. Here are some more packages you might want if you have, if you're using Python 3 yo-yo. And then the following new packages will be installed. This will be the package that you initially specified, Python 3 yo-yo, plus these two, which were installed as what are called dependencies. So I'm going to go ahead and install these. And then what if I change my mind here? What if I don't want Python 3 yo-yo anymore? What if I look at the info for the package, what is it? apt show Python 3 yo-yo. And I see that it is, let's see. What can I find to be objectionable here? Oh, so yeah, notice this here. Apt manual installed, yes. That means that it's not installed as a dependency. I explicitly told it to install this thing. So even if I say clear the packages of all the packages I don't need anymore, it won't clear this one because I explicitly said to get it. Oh no. Raw SQL statements. I hate raw SQL statements. I don't want this package anymore. So let's apt, or because it's a writable operation, apt remove Python 3 yo-yo. The following packages were automatically installed and are no longer required. Okay? Use sudo apt auto remove to remove them. So after I'm done with this operation, I can run the auto remove command in apt to automatically get rid of the packages I don't need anymore. But I'm guessing there's another way to do this. If we go to man apt again, and we go down to install, and let's see. If we want to find out about, I'm wondering if there's a flag to, let's see, remove. Where's remove? Is it down here? No, it's up here. Oh, install, reinstall, remove, and purge are all versions of all use apt-get under the hood. So if we want to, yeah, this is actually good to read. So let's go back up to the top. Let's see all the command line flags here. Target release, remove. There might be. Let's see the command for apt-get. This is the original command here. This is more complicated, like I said. Apt is kind of a front end for this program, kind of. If we go down to install and then we go down to remove, are there options? Yes. Okay. So let's see. Simulate. Yes. Assume no. Compile. No upgrade. Allow downgrades. Allow remove essential. No, don't do that. So mark auto, no remove, auto remove. So let's try auto remove. Sudo apt-get remove auto remove. Oh, and then I have to actually, so usually what I'm going to do is put the options before the actual command, and then Python 3 yo-yo. The following packages will be removed. So this flag here says, go ahead and take everything out of my package library, like my installed programs that I installed just to install this program. You see? Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do that because I don't need Python 3 yo-yo right now. And Pod Station triggers for man, it removed the Python 3 yo-yo man page. Okay, that's all I'm going to go over for right now. That's an introduction to package management. That kind of is enough to get you started. Next time, I'm not sure what we'll go over, but it will be more basic Linux stuff before we actually get into anything with a network, okay? So I will talk to you soon. Have a nice evening, or whenever you're watching this.